And it's like, it just builds, it builds. And his fucking face gets so big, his smile's like, and everyone's like, they're all laughing like really awkwardly, like, yeah, it's funny, right? And it's like, wow. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
Everything that has a beginning has an end.
Now, my friends, we get to the spoiler review. Actually, no, let me go ahead and raise my glass to you, chat. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather. You're shaking the pillows of heaven as we speak. Cheers and salute to a pleasure to have you here right now. I'm thirsty. I'm a thirsty boy. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details, I have a very important question to ask you, chat. And that question is, how many of you have seen The Matrix Revelations, chat, the third chapter in The Matrix Saga? I am very curious. There are always the memes. That's true. There's a lot of fucking memes in this movie. You're not wrong. Lisa, God bless you too. Chris, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Brando says, sadly, yes. Stranger Shoes, sadly, yes. A lot of sadlies. Yeah, chat. It's that kind of movie where it's like, and I'm gonna go into detail about like what happened with this film, because this seriously underperformed at the box office. DT Darkslayer, seen it, but only remember the memeable parts, of course. Lisa, yes. Person Mans, only saw the first one. I was warned away. You made the right decision, sir. You made the right decision. Valkyrie says, sadly, yes. Batboy, I've not seen DBZ meets reboot. I mean, Matrix. That's actually a great way to describe it. That's a really inspired way to describe it. You fucking nailed it, Batboy. You nailed it. Yeah, chap. I have seen this movie. I have not seen this movie, again, like 18 years. The last time I watched this was in the theater. It's a fucking way too. You know what's funny? It's such a long movie, and yet it's not as long as Reloaded. I realized that. I was like, oh, wow, the running time. It's like 15 minutes shorter, I want to say. Like, this is like a little over 2 hours, and Reloaded is like 2 hours and like 20 minutes or something, 2 hours, whatever. It's up there. The reason why it feels longer, because I agree with you, Lisa, this movie it's longer, and it feels longer because there's a lot more talking than even in the previous film, and the action, in my opinion, is just really uninspired. And it's very CGI heavy. And again, it's the same criticism I have. When you're a film, when you came from the early 2000s, they're using a lot of CGI. Because like, well, we got to keep up with the ante. And the way to up the ante is if we use copious amounts of CGI. But this CGI is nearly 20 years old, and it hurts to look at. It's like, oh, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It feels like everything needs additional rendering. You know, everything it needs to have some grittiness layered on top. Everything's too fucking smooth in this movie. And that's a big problem. That's why it doesn't, a lot of the action for me doesn't work. It's like, God damn, you have more of the thing I don't want and less of the thing I want. Or even if you try to have action scenes that I'd want, it's not as impressive as I thought they could be or should be, which is a shame. And I feel like that's what a lot of audiences felt at the time. You know, The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revelations were released within the same year, 2003. Reloaded obviously was released 6 months before Revelations was. And Reloaded was, you know, it for a time, it was the highest grossing rated R film for a while. It made like over $700+ million worldwide to beat Terminator 2. Eventually, it would be topped later on by Deadpool in 2016. But because reception to the movie was mixed, I mean, it got actually kind of positive mixed reviews, but audiences really disliked at the time, and that's reflected in the sequel's box office, chat. That's what happened. The Matrix Revelations was paying for the sins of Reloaded, and this made $300 million less. $300 million less than Reloaded. I mean, that is kind of crazy to see. A fan base just so spurned by a series within the same year that you had $300 million worth of fans didn't show up to watch the next movie. That blows my fucking mind. Like, I can't believe that. I mean, at the time, they must have. I know the Wachowskis. I know they say like these sequels are amazing. They stand by them and everything like that. But I mean, they come on. Clearly, they saw that and went, uh-oh. And I think the same for Warner Bros. I mean, it still made $427.3 million, but they spent around $150 million to make it, and that the marketing for this was equally as expensive, chat, as the actual budget for the film. And so, I mean, it made a profit, but nowhere near what they wanted originally to make, chat. And that's because the Matrix became something that no one really wanted it to be. You had a really cool concept. Like, the Matrix at its basic level, I think, works. Like, it's a cool looking sci-fi action film within a really interesting world. A computer world, chat, which at the time was very original. It was very original. And this is the dawn. You got to forget, Chad, 1999, the dawn of the internet age. Not every fucking household had a computer in their home. Like, I remember when my family got our first computer, like shared computer, and it was in the late 90s, okay? So the Matrix was capitalizing initially on a trend that would just explode, a way of life that would explode and blow people. And that's why the movie blew people's minds at the time. It's like, we can live in a world in a computer dimension. Oh my God, an artificial reality. That's really, really cool, right? And I'm thinking, oh, great. Then if you do sequels, then you can really explore that and those worlds. How can you change it? You could have done, the Wachowskis and the writers, they could have done a lot of interesting things in these films, but for whatever reason, they decide to make it a college lecture in the sequels. Like, yeah, we'll have a fight scene every once in a while, but we're going to make it a college lecture about philosophy and love and the human struggle. And it's like, no one fucking wanted that. And I guess it just never got through to the Wachowskis. And I think they've just been paying for it ever since. They are very much set in their ways about what they want and what they don't want to include. And so here it is. Yeah, no, the original Matrix was the right movie at the right time. And it was firing on all cylinders. And I think they didn't focus on the things that people wanted in the sequels. And this is the result. This is why it's, the first Matrix is beloved and the sequels are not. Nor, in my opinion, nor should they be. Maybe they have some interesting moments. Maybe there's some fun moments. But yeah, these two films are just representative of wasted fucking potential. Wasted potential and unnecessary focus on something that people do not give a shit about. So really, I feel like The Matrix should have been a standalone movie if they could have expanded. Yeah, you're right. No, someone else mentioned that before, and I agree. I mean, you could have had where it ends. It's like, all right, so Neo is the one, and now him and the various people of Zion are going to be freeing all these people from the machines, but the war goes on. But now humanity has a brighter future. It's like maybe inevitably it will take many years or decades or centuries or generations to do it, but now we have a chance. Now we will do it. And it's like, they should have just done it that way. They should have just done it that way, chat. So, yeah. You live in the age of Tron. This is very much Tron. Like, the whole idea of computer programs having relationships and shit, I was like, that's fucking Tron. I know what this is. No, there's no doubt the Wachowskis were very inspired by Tron. But The Matrix is like a mainstream version of Tron. Because Tron, I mean, again, fucking weird for its time. It's like, it's a Disney film, live action Disney film about computers and in a computer world. It's like video games, like, whoa. Like, that, again, that was very unique. I'll give it that. It's definitely the progenitor of The Matrix. There's no doubt. But The Matrix, I think, is what made that whole concept of something like Tron mainstream. But they couldn't nail the sequels, chat. Couldn't nail the sequels. This movie, when it was released, again, received very mixed reviews from critics, very negative reviews from audiences. Is often looked at as the worst Matrix movie, and maybe it is. Maybe I hate Reloaded more just because the fact that it's coming off of the original film, which is so good, and it's just such a dip in quality. But at the same time, when I think about it, with Revolutions, it's a little bit shorter, but at the same time, it feels longer, as people have said, and it doesn't have the cool action scenes that at least Reloaded had. And it just continues on with the philosophizing and these conversations that go fucking nowhere. It's asking questions that we don't care about the answer to. And that's what it is. And it's reflected in that goddamn box office, chat, $427.3 million. But it went over all that shit, Chad, the behind the scenes details of this movie, the reception it got. Now we got to go ahead and do the scene by scene by scene by scene breakdown, Chad. And here we go. We start, chat, back on the giant floating turd ship, okay? They all look like poop. They all look like poop, chat, in the Matrix world because everything is just, it's miserable. Everyone has messed up clothes. It's dirty. Everyone's fucking in catacombs, chat. And even the ships look like turds. And they got like little magnets on the back. And we are in the medical bay, chat, where Trinity is looking over the comatose body of Keanu Reeves. He is still not woken up after his battle in the last movie, chat, you know, fighting everybody. It's like, nope, he's still knocked out after, because he killed them. You remember, chat, he can now use his powers in the real world. He stopped a whole army of squiddies, but he exhausted himself and he's spent. He's like, I can't do this. And so he's comatose, chat. But then we see goddamn Baines. Remember Baines, chat? If you don't worry. They forgot him hour and a half into the movie. They were like, oh shit, yeah, that guy in the first 20 minutes. Now he's back at the end of the film. What? He's also there as well, chat. He was knocked out. He's the survivor of the other poop ship that exploded when it was supposed to blow up the power station, but it didn't. He's there too. There's this other lady that Trinity's talking to, and she's like, you really love Neo. And she's like, I love him so much. We have so much in common. Like what? We like to kiss and fuck. She's like, well, that's all you need for love. That is what you need for a relationship to work. You got to kiss and fuck, not, have anything in common. Perfect. And so that's what it is, chap. Eventually, though, Morpheus, Trinity, and the rest of the gang, they're like, all right, well, we need a plan. This is getting bad. Because we gotta somehow find Neo. He's not in the Matrix. We look for him. He's comatose, and it's not. But we can't resurrect him. We need help. And so they go and talk to the Oracle, chat, who looks remarkably different. They thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. And I thought, and the reason for this, I'm not trying to be mean, but the reason for this was that the original actress who played the Oracle passed away in between The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, chat. And they replaced her with a new actress. Now, what I thought would have been really cool to do, it's a very simple thing. I think there's nothing wrong with simple storytelling techniques. Is that as it's established in the previous movie, Agent Smith is a rogue program, and he's taking over people. He's taking over the Matrix for himself, check. He's like, in the even original movie, he's like, I want to get the fuck out of here. I hate it here. Nia Brownie. Welcome, Nia Brownie. Hard hands. I hope you're doing very well. Just talking about the black lady they replaced and thought we wouldn't notice, but I did. Brownie Wowie indeed. But would have been made sense, Chad. As we know, Agent Smith's taken over the Matrix slowly over time, infecting other people and turning them into him. What would have been interesting is if, the Oracle's like, I have to change my appearance constantly now in order to avoid Agent Smith because he's slowly taking over the world. It's dangerous for me and other computer programs. And I thought, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. It's simple, all right? It's like, and you could use that excuse and everyone would go like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But no, she goes on about how it's like, I made a tremendous sacrifice, and that sacrifice is something that will stay with me forever. What was the sacrifice, Oracle? But is the sacrifice real, Morpheus? Is the sacrifice real in the Matrix itself? Perhaps the sacrifice is meaningless. Maybe it is just a concept we can not only... What the fuck are you talking about? Just say you're changing your appearance because you're scared you're going to get attacked by Agent Smith. And it's like, oh my God, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And she starts talking about, we all have choices to make, but we all have a purpose. And you have a purpose, Morpheus, just like Neo has a choice and he has a purpose. But it's the purpose that is the true thing, not the choice. Because the choice is meaningless. The choice is already laying you down the path. It is the purpose. Focus on the purpose. It's like, okay, sure. All right, sure. Great. They're like, where is he? Where is he, Oracle? Oh, he's on Mobile Avenue. And they're like, what? And so then we transport to Neo, who is in Mobile Avenue, what looks like an underground subway, a subway station, where a little girl is just staring at him like this. And he wakes up. She's like, are you Neo? He goes, well, yes. No, I don't know. Where am I? Did you come from the Matrix? No. Yes. Well, maybe. It's like, just say one. Just say no or yes. And it's all his questions. But we find out he has these conversations with this little girl, and she leads him to her family. She has a family and they try to be fucking clever with this, where it says Mobile Avenue, and it's like, if you reverse the letters, chat, of mobile, what does that fucking spell? What if you switch some of the letters around, chat? He's in limbo. He's in fucking limbo. I know he's in limbo. I get it. He's in between worlds, chat. He's in between the human world and the Matrix, and he's in fucking limbo. I understand. And they keep the camera like right on Mobile Avenue, like, do you get it? Do you get it? Yeah, I get it. I get it. He's in limbo. And the little brown girl then takes him to her family, chat. And it's these two computer programs. And as you know, when two computer programs fuck, chat, they have adorable little brown children. And the girl is as cute as a goddamn button. I will say, she absolutely is, chat. But then we're introduced to her dad, who is like, hi, I'm a computer program. Whoa. It's like, yeah. And he's like, you know what? I know a lot about you. I know a lot about you. He's like, you do? Yeah, we all do. We all do down here. Of course. The only thing we ever talk about is you, Neo. And he's like, I want to introduce you to my wife. I love her. And he's like, wait a minute. How can a computer program love? And he's like, love is but a word. Love is a word. Love is feeling. It is what we feel inside of all of us. But this corporeal form, it is not real. But love is. But it is merely a word. What are you talking about? Can we get to a fight scene or something? Can we see some kung fu or some bullet time? Or I'll take a squiddy attack. I will take a robot squiddy attack. And like, no, we are having a conversation with two computer programs who fucked and made a beautiful baby. And they're talking about love, and then they get onto this whole thing. It's like, do you believe in karma? Karma is just a word. I know it's just I know it's just a word. I know it's just a word. But really, what it is, it's just love. It's the whole thing. Love will find a way. It'll guide you down the true path. It's the right choice. That's what makes you human. That's what makes you real, okay? Doesn't matter if you actually are a corporeal human being or if you're a computer program, okay? Love is, it penetrates us whether we are one or the other, all right? I get it, movie. You move on. We can move on from this, but it's like, nope. We then are introduced to his wife. He's like, I want to introduce you to my wife. She is a fantastic computer program. And what I love about the wife, she's like, who are you? What are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I apologize. She is very blunt and very sassy. I'm like, okay. And you know what? I actually like the wife. I thought she was really fucking funny because she's just like, I have no tolerance for all this back and forth pontificating and philosophizing. Who the fuck are you? And what are you doing here? And I don't want my kid talking to you anymore. And the wife, she's the one, the husband's weird. The husband's like really over the top and weird. It's like, oh, I love everybody. It's like, that's great. The wife's like, get the fuck away from me. And I kind of like that. I think he says she's a security program. And so that's why she's so aggressive towards you. She doesn't trust you. She's looking at you like you're goddamn malware. That's what it is, Chip. Life, love, finds a way. It's true. Even in computer chat, even in a computer world when you're computer Jesus. Oh, my God. But then they're like, oh, Jesus, but you haven't met the trainman, have you? And he's like, the what? He's a guy from Mad Max 2. Yeah, he's going to try to, he's been keeping us here where this is like a prison that's used by the remember the Merovingian chat? He's back again. Great. Loved him. And he captures computer programs and sells them to other computer programs. Okay? And so he uses the gyro captain from Mad Max 2 to wrangle up he's like the computer program catcher, and he keeps them in limbo, and he uses a train to then deliver the computer programs across the Matrix world. I'm not fucking making this up. It's that guy. Yeah, it's him. It's the gyro captain. And I'm like, all right. Okay, he shows up. Oh, he's your eye. Who the fuck are you? And he's like, I am Neo. And he's like, you can't come with us. The Merovingian, he has plans for you. And he's like, I can fight you. And the fucking gyro captain kicks his fucking ass. Bow! He punches him. He flies back across the goddamn subway station shit, and boom, goes into the wall. Meanwhile, the trainman slash gyro captain from Mad Max 2, the Australian guy, he puts the family, and they're dead. We never see them again, Chad. They're fucking dead. They put them in the train car and they leave, but then he's like, well, I'll just run after you. But yeah, it's a loop. He can't escape limbo. As soon as he goes into the tunnel, he comes out the other side. He's like, oh no, I'm trapped. It's like, fuck, how is he gonna get out of there, Chet? He's the mouth of Sauron. There he is. He's so over the goddamn top. He's too over the goddamn top. At this point, we cut to the Merovingian, who is going into a fetish club, chat. Yep, he has a fetish club, because of course he does. It's the internet. I think it's called like Rule 34. It's like, give me a fucking break. So we're going into Rule 34, the fetish club, where everyone's in bondage and hot leather, and everyone's in a furry suit just fucking each other. And he goes inside, and his two very big buff bodyguards, they stand. It's not like a parking garage. It's a fetish. It's like it's so fucking gross. It's a fetish club, but the entrance is in a parking garage, and it's just moist and dirty everywhere. I'm like, I don't like this. But then we see they're like, someone's walking towards the two big security guards, and it takes a long fucking time for them to get there. And they're like, who are you? And it's the Kung Fu Kid, Chad. It's not Jet Li from the second one, because that's a character you all really cared about. And they have like this big epic score for him, like, bo, 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 bo. It's like, oh, it's that guy. All right, whatever. And he starts kicking these two guys' ass. I gotta admit that, Chad. He kills those sons of bitches. And then the rest of the gang shows up, Trinity and Morpheus and everything. It's like, cool. All right, here we fucking go. Now we're getting some action scenes, Chad. And really what it is, it's just kind of a repeat of the original action scene when Trinity and Neo go to save Morpheus in that building in the first film, when Agent Smith's kidnapped him. He's trying to interrogate him. It's kind of that scene. It's just not... It's like, all right, it's the same thing again. It's a little uninspired, honestly, chat. It almost felt like a callback, an homage. I just kind of thought it was a little boring. So it was like the first big action scene in the movie, and it's like something we've already seen. But that's the thing. Like, this movie doesn't do anything really new in terms of it does something new. It just doesn't do it well. But all the other, it's like, all right, whatever. Eventually, they get inside the main hub, and the Merovingians, he's like, stop, everyone stop. Everyone just stops shooting and killing each other. And then, like, I think we have fucking Trinity's like, we're only here to talk, which I'm like, that's probably not true. If you said you're only here to talk, then why have you spent the last 10 minutes just murdering a whole bunch of people? But they're only there to talk. And the Merovingian, who was like, I'd be like, no, fuck you, kill them. He's like, you know what? I want to hear what you got for me. I want to hear what you got for me. They sit down, and he does his whole fucking speech about, about how he loves being French and philosophizing, and how he loves, what he's been able to create. And it's dumb. It's so dumb. But he's like, what do you want? And she's like, we want Neo back. We know that you have him. We know that the trainman, the gyro captain from Mad Max 2 has him. And he's like, yeah, okay, I can give you him. However, I need something in return. We need to have an exchange, make a fair deal. And they're like, okay. All right, what do you want? And he's like, I want the eyes of the black lady, of the Oracle. And they're like, whoa, you're going to take her old eyes? I want her old eyes for myself. And I guess because he wants to have the abilities to see, I want to see the future. But it's like, how, like, taking her eyes, does he feel like I can just replace my eyes with her? Like, it's very confusing. But he thinks it's like, if I take the eyes of the Oracle, and I will then be able to use them to see the future. And they're like, no fucking deal. And they just pull their guns out. And it's like, we have a new deal for you. And then we cut, and Keanu's doing nothing, fuck nothing, in Mobile Avenue, Limbo, get it? But then, oh shit, Trinity and Morpheus and they all show up and they rescue him, Chad. Like, it's okay. He's fucking back. And he's like, what did you have to do? And they're like, nothing really. We just threatened Frenchie, said we would kill him, and he told us where we were. That was it. It's like, that would have been cool. Now, see, it's like, that's conflict. It's like, okay, I'll help you, but you got to get the Oracle for me. I need her eyeballs. And I was like, well, that could have been a nice moral, moral complexity then. It's like, we got to do a bad thing and do a good thing. Maybe they got to go back to the Oracle and kill her. And that would have been interesting to me, chap, but no. But no, they just literally put a gun in his head and like give us him. It's like, okay. And so they save Neo. They save Neo, and Neo's like, I must go see the Oracle, and because I have so many questions. And they're like, all right. And so they go to the Oracle, and he's like, why do you look different? I made a sacrifice, a tremendous sacrifice, which I could not truly articulate. But is the sacrifice real, Neo? I don't know. Exactly. You don't know. I have so many questions. I know you do. And they just go back and forth. They go back and forth, and nothing gets answered. Nothing gets answered between the two of them because it's all about, Neo, you have a purpose. But in order to seek out that purpose, you need to make a choice. But the choice does not matter, Neo. And he's like, okay. And eventually, he realizes that choice does not matter, is that everything is that's happening it's intended to happen from the beginning. Fate, chat. Belief. That's what it is. Inherent belief is what's guiding all these characters. There is no personal choice. That is nothing. Everything is fucking destiny. That's what the movie is all about. And have a cookie, Cabs. You nailed it. And here's your goddamn cookie. And he's like, I don't want a cookie. I don't want it. And so he's like, well, she's like, fine, if you don't want any cookies, I'll have them for myself. But someone else wants a cookie, chat. Someone else desperately needs a cookie. And after fucking Neo and his friends leave, learning that none of their choices matter, that it's just destiny, who gives a shit? Who arrives, chat, for cookies? Agent Smith. It's the Smiths, chat. Agent Smith shows up with his entourage, and, he's like, the Oracle, I have been looking for you. She's like, you're a bastard. What have you done to my children? And they give Hugo Weaving one of the weirdest lines I think I've ever heard him spoke across anything. I mean, he's literally been a giant evil robot. He has been a Nazi scientist with a red skull face, and he's been a computer program. But this is the weirdest line I think I've ever heard him spoke. And for whatever reason, he says, cookies need love like everything does. And I go, it's like, what are you talking about? What did you give the person cookies, or did you love them? Did you kill? I guess it's just like, yeah, I fucking killed all those kids and turned them into me. And she's like, well, do what you gotta do, honey. You're a beast, dude. And he takes his fucking fist and just rams it into grandma's tummy, chat, just right in there. And she's like, and she turns into another Agent Smith. And everyone's kind of like looking at this Agent Smith is like, did it work? Did it work? And then again, it's like following that incredible line, we get the laugh, chat. We get the meme. He goes, and it's like, it just builds. It builds. And his fucking face gets so big. His smile's like, and everyone's like, they're all laughing like really awkwardly, like, yeah, it's funny, right? And it's like, wow. I'm sorry. Like, I like Hugo. Hugo Weaving is a great, Agent Smith's a great villain in the first Matrix. He's okay in the second one. Here, he's so fucking hammy. You're right, Cabs. He's so hammy. He's too over the top. It's just, it's like, no, it does not work for me. All of his, he gets derpy later on, too. As he keeps spreading himself across the Matrix, he can't handle anymore. And he's just, like, forgetting shit constantly, which I guess that makes sense. It's like, you got to put more memory. He's like, your computer needs more memory. He's overextended himself at this point, and so he's not running very well. He's literally like a shitty laptop that's on its last legs by the end of the film. He's like, what did I just do? Who are you? He's like so fucking confused and shit. It's really weird. But he's laughing up because he's like, well, I killed the Oracle, and now he has inherited her precog abilities, Chad. He can see the future, and yet, even though he can see the future, he's not able to see his own death, which, again, I'm confused by that. Like, if the Oracle, you would know, like, okay, well, I know how I'm going to die and how this is all going to play out, and yet he doesn't see that? Or maybe he does. Again, Nothing is answered, and even if like and there's a shit ton of plot holes, they make no attempt to plug up them holes. Shit, not a single hole is plugged. Well, except for Trinity when fucking her and Neo are just sucking face. Those are the only holes that are getting plugged there. Other than that, no. But then after that, after he absorbs the Oracle chat, we then cut to the real world. They get Neo out of it, and he's like, "All right, listen, guys. I realize I think I kind of fucked everything up when I talked to Colonel Sanders in the last movie, and I said fuck the Humies because I wanted some of that Trinity leather ass, which I get it. I need to because they're going to attack Zion." The Squiddies, they know where Zion is. They're gonna send their Squiddy armies to attack and wipe us all out. I need to go and talk to the king of the Squiddies, so they won't do that. And everyone's like, no, we will not sacrifice another one of our ships for this. You talk to the architect and he fucked him. Like the whole part of the movie was just so Neo could go and talk to the architect and figure this whole thing out. And he went, I choose not to protect Zion. I choose my own selfish interests and get Trinity. That's what he chose. And so this guy's like, the captain of the other ship's like, absolutely not. We're not giving you one of our ships. But Jada Pinkett's like, I'm in the movie now, and I would like a scene too. And they're like, Jada, okay, all right, we'll give you a scene. And she's like, good. So, I'm going to give him my ship. And they're like, we need to evacuate Zion. She's like, you said I could have a scene in the movie. And they're like, all right. And so Jada Pinkett Smith gives Neo her ship, and Trinity says, I will go with you too because I want to suck your face. And he's like, I would like that. And so they go. they go on the goddamn ship, chat. They fly the ship. But oh no! You know who's also woken up, chat? Baines, and they interrogated him for a while, but he tricked the crew. But he has stowed away on Neo and Trinity's poop ship, chat, because it's shaped like a giant turd. As they're flying, and he gets the drop on Trinity, chat, just fucking smacks her around and basically has her in a headlock. And I will say, this actor who is, I forget the actor's name, but, it's the whole thing is like he's infected with Agent Smith, so it's Agent Smith in the real world because we learned that he can infect human bodies, I guess, via computer code. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. But he infected the guy, and the guy's doing a pretty decent Hugo Weaving impression. It's like, Mr. Anderson, good to see you as you are. And, eventually he decides, like, well, Trinity's not worth it. I just want to kick your ass in the real world. He fucking drops Trinity through this hole in the ship, and she's like, oh, because she falls down. She's knocked out. And, him and Neo start fucking fighting. They start fighting on the one. They're just brutal. But, Neo doesn't have all of his kung fu powers and shit, so he's not that good. But eventually, he ends up on top of Baines/Smith and just punching and wailing on him. But then Baines reaches for, like, an exposed wire. And I was like, I forgot about this. He fucks Neo's face up. He jams it's not like a little wire. It's like a giant fucking industrial cable wire that's like pss, 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 constantly sparking, and he takes and just rams it into Neo's face, chat. He's like, ah! And he burns his eyeballs out. Like, he removes it, and his eyeballs are fucking gone. It's like, oh my God. I totally forgot, because I haven't seen this movie in like since 2003, and so I forgot that he horrifically blinded him. And so now Neo's like just fucking screaming, as you would be too if someone just burns your eyeballs out. Yeah, well, Agent Smith's is going, oh, can't see me, Neo. But eventually, Neo gains the ability to see, because even though he can't use his eyes anymore, he still sees computer code, and he can still move around like he gets Daredevil eyes. It's like Daredevil's superpower is that he sees better than any of us, really. And so he sees, it looks like in the Daredevil show, where everything's like very red for Matt Murdock and he gets the sense and everything, where everything's on fire for Neo, just like that. And so he basically he fucking bamboozles Agent Smith/Baines and uses a crowbar and just bashes his fucking head in until he's dead. Which I feel sorry for Baines, chap, because it wasn't his fault that he got taken over. I mean, I wouldn't know if that Agent Smith could infect People in the real. That doesn't make any sense. And so he's like, fuck Baines. I don't give a shit. And so that's it. That's absolutely killed him. Goes over the Trinity and they start kissing. It's like, yeah, now's not the time to kiss him because his face is like melted. Half his face is fucking gone. But he's like, I'm just gonna put a little bandage around. It's like a joke. It's one of the few jokes in the film. He's like, I can't fly the ship. She's like, don't worry, I got that covered. And I'm like, I'd be like, this mission's over, okay? Your eyes got melted out of your fucking face. But no, they continue flying towards the Squiddies, chat. That's what they do. Eventually, we cut back to Zion, and they're prepping for the major attack, chat, because the Squiddies have sent their first wave of their armies, chat, to attack the place. And we get like, oh, this is going to be a cool scene because everyone's in giant fucking mech suits. I love mech suits. You love mech suits. When's a mech suit not interesting? In the Matrix Revelations, chat, because this is like a 20-minute sequence, like, in this. And the visual, like the aesthetics of Zion it's just gray and blue gray, and there's just nothing really like interesting to look at. And the Squiddies are all gray and blue gray and steel colored. So you're really just seeing these giant mech suits blasting these big gray blobs of big cloud blobs, basically. But we do get some scenes when the Squiddies they're like locusts, where they will literally just consume something and just completely rip it apart, which is like, that's kind of interesting. But there's a lot of scenes of people in mech suits going, just doing that. Like if you have a mech suit, you definitely fucking need to just start shooting shit. Have I been calling this Revelations the whole time? Revolutions, whatever. I think I've been calling this movie The Matrix Revelations or because you know why I called it Revelations? Because Revolutions is dumb. I get it's multiple revolutions. It doesn't fucking matter. No one cares about The Matrix 3. No one cares. Oh my lord, I love it. That's exactly what I've been doing. I've been calling this the it doesn't. Who fucking cares? But they're and shit. They're fighting. They're fighting each other, chat. Good goddamn time. Good god time. Eventually, fucking Lawrence Fishburne and Jada Pinkett Smith, chat, who are now a couple, they show up in another ship, and they literally just yeet themselves into the middle of Zion, chat, and they release the EMP, chat. They release that EMP, which shuts down all of the Squiddies. And fucking Morpheus is like, wow, you're really cool and hot, Jada Pinkett Smith. You did it. She goes, no, Morpheus, we did it. It's a team effort, and I got a second scene in the movie. He goes, yes, I'm so proud of you. But then he goes and checks with Martian Manhunter from Justice League to see that he's like, oh, he's going to finally give me a comment. Martian Manhunter's like, fuck you, Morpheus. Was like, what? We saved the city. He's like, no, you didn't. You just stopped it. You just stopped the inevitable momentarily. But because you unleashed an EMP in the middle of Zion, none of our shit works anymore. It's like, oh yeah. Everything shut down. They can't go into the Matrix shit. It's like, it's over. It's fucking over. It's like, you guys are really bad at what you do. And so they're gonna, and fucking Martian Manhunter is like, well, if I was the Squiddies, I would definitely send a second wave to attack us because we have no ability to defend ourselves whatsoever. All of our mech suits and all of our pilots, like, they're all dead. Every fucking single one of them is dead, Chad. It's like, oh, well, that's not good. Eventually, we cut back to Neo and Trinity, and they are flying in the poop ship. And then we see the Squiddy base, I guess, for the first time, where the main location is, where the computer baby lives, chat. And all the sensors, the alarms start going off because like there's a poop ship coming at us. We gotta attack it. And so they send this army of Squiddies to attack, but then Neo is able to use his powers to destroy them, and then we get something weird that I just don't fucking get at all. I'm very confused by this. Maybe you can help me out. But they're hit by they're hit by the Squiddies, but the Squiddies, it's not like corporeal where like Neo is physically hit. It's like they go through the fireball, but Neo's soul is damaged. like he goes to the fireball, and then everything goes black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, and like his yellow soul is like, oh, I'm like, I don't understand what that is. Is that like, I mean, that's his Jesus powers? Is that like his is he like the holy? I guess his Holy Ghost form was hurt when they went through the fire. I don't know, but we see that it's clear Neo has been damaged in some way, not physically. I mean, he has melted eyeballs now. There's that, but spiritually he's been damaged. And Trinity's like, we gotta go up so we don't keep damaging your soul. And so they shoot up into the sky, and they cut above all of the clouds where there's color for the first time in the movie, Chad. It's not just gray and blue-gray. There's like, you know, crimson and oranges and purples and shit, and the sun is beautiful. And she's like, oh my God, she's never seen the sun before. She's like, it's beautiful. And eventually they're like, all right, let's go down. Let's go down. And so they go down. It's like, why don't you just stay up here the whole time? Why don't you just fly over all the squiddies? Because there is no squiddies up here at all, Chet. There's none. They clearly do not like the sun. And if I was Trinity, I was like, I'm just going to fly above the clouds until we get to the computer baby base. But she's like, nope, we're going to go down again. And so they fucking go down, and then they're attacked by more squiddies, and Neo can't do his powers now because his soul was damaged. And so Trinity crashes the fucking ship and like, blah, 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 and she's blasted back or whatever from her seat. Neo wakes up, at least I think he wakes up because I can't tell because, you know, his eyeballs are melted. But he wakes up and he's like, Trinity, where are you? She's like, I'm over here. And he goes over to her, he's like, Trinity, everything's gonna be okay. We can go see the giant computer baby together. And she's like, yeah, I can't go with you. And he's like, why not? You have been with me on this journey, this physical, metaphysical, metaphorical, allegorical, philosophical journey for so many years, Trinity. And I love you. Let us continue it together. She's like, no, I'm impaled. I'm impaled. I can't move. He's like, oh, and she's been impaled by like multiple pieces of rebar, Chad. Just these huge fucking pipes have gone into her legs, thick thighs, tum, and chap, again, she has no hope. Once you get stabbed in the boob, death. That's insta-death. Shot in the boob or stabbed in the boob, death. And both stabbed. And it's like, Jesus, like, oh no, Trinity, you were being literal. Yeah. And she dies. And she dies, but not before they suck face one more time. They get a good old little ton sucking going on, chat, and eventually she's like, I love you, and dies. He's like, no, and he gets very fucking upset about that. You know, I get it. Well, after that, we cut back to Zion, Chad. Zion's prepping for the second wave. You know, Martian Manhunter and Morpheus are like, all right, man, I know we've hated each other for a while, but listen, let's fucking defend Zion to the last man and woman. And they're like, cool. And so now the squiddies are using giant fucking drills. They're drilling into Zion, Chad, like, it goes right through, and all the squiddies come out, and they start attacking people, like, in their homes, and they start attacking people in the sex catacombs. They have the rave orgies, chat. The catacombs are getting overrun. It's like, oh, boy. People are just fighting with, you know, like fucking crowbars and rifles and shit and machine guns, like anything that still works, but it's still not great. It's still not great. Eventually, we cut back to Neo, and he has traveled. He left the scene of the crash, and he has gotten to the center of the Squid Baby base, where their leader, chat, the hive mind. The central intelligence is literally a giant computer screen with a computer baby face. Am I exaggerating? I'm not exaggerating. It's a giant computer baby. And it's like, what the fuck do you want? Why did you come here? Why did you come here and mess with all my squiddies? And he's like, computer baby, I wish to make a deal. Computer baby, I've come to bargain. What do you want to bargain about? He's like, I want you to stop attacking Zion. No, I don't want to do that. I don't like you. And he's like, but there must be something that we have in common. He's like, well, there's this guy, his name is Agent Smith, and he used to be my friend, but now he's not my friend anymore because he's taken over the Matrix, and I don't like him. I can stop Agent Smith. I don't like him. Will we? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put you back in the Matrix, okay? And you fight him, and then we will stop attacking Zion. And he's like, cool. And so these giant fucking these giant tentacles, these giant computer baby tentacles, chat, literally start inserting themselves inside of Keanu Reeves's orifices, chat. It's like, yep, all of his holes, every hole gets a tentacle, chat. And he's put back into the Matrix, right? And he sees that Hugo Weaving has changed a few things around. He's taken it completely over. Every person is now Hugo Weaving. Everyone is Agent Smith. And it's constantly raining. It's a lot of fucking rain. It's like, okay, it's a little too much rain. And he's like, Mr. Anderson, like what I've done with the place? No, it's kind of lame. And it's like, I like it. It matches my personality. It's like, I need to stop you. I made a deal with the giant computer baby so that, well, oh God, what was the deal again? Oh yeah, so they would stop hurting Zion, okay? And in order to make good on the deal, I must defeat you. And he's like, this will be the scene of our greatest battle, Mr. Anderson. And they have a fucking Dragon Ball Z fight. That's what it is, chat. Or like, it's Man of Steel. It's like Superman versus General Zod and Man of Steel, chat. They're just flying around the fucking city. CGI shenanigans to behold, chat. Going through buildings, going to, like, they might as well just start doing Kamehameha. They should have been doing Kamehamehas and Gala guns, chat, you know, and, you know, all the other triple beam cannon, all that shit. They're doing everything. They're flying up, and the thing is, to me, it felt like the Wachowskis were like, well, we went from a typical kung fu fight with them the first movie. Well, that choreography, but that fight is always looked at as one of the best fucking fights in the series, yeah, because it's so grounded, because it's so, well, it's because it's practical, it's physical. You know, it's the actors actually performing these moves, and it's wire work, and there's obviously stunt work going on, but it's so grounded, and that's why people love that fight. And it's aged so well. It's aged, that fight's 20 years old and still fucking holds up. And we get to Reloaded, like, well, in order to make that bigger, we're going to have Neo fight a shit ton of Agent Smiths. And it's like, that's cool in concept, and it was cool at the time. But again, the CGI for that scene has aged pretty goddamn bad, where I don't really like it anymore. This one is just like, fuck it, superheroes. It's a superhero fight. That's what it is, because these guys have gotten so powerful that now they're just slamming into each other in the sky as the rain is pounding, and we have this super obnoxious music going, hustle-a-ha-da, hustle-a-ha-da. And it's like, I don't need hustle-a-ha-da right now, okay? I don't need that, all right? I don't need everything to sound like Hans Zimmer all of a sudden. It's unnecessary. Thank you. Thank you for serving 2 minutes. I wonder if the actor that voiced Heisenberg in Village took use of Hugo Weaving. Yeah, similar to, yes, it's like Mother Miranda. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He said he based his performance off of Nick Cage, but I bet there's a little bit of Hugo Weaving's Mr. Anderson in there. No doubt. So they're fucking fighting. They're fighting, and eventually they're in the sky. They're in a warehouse for a little bit, and they're doing the typical kung fu shit, but that stops quickly. There's like a little wink in the nod to the original fight scene in the first movie, but they're like, no, we're done. And I love how all the other Agent Smiths, like, they're just on the sidewalk, just kind of like, because you notice in the background, they're kind of fucking derpy, because I guess Agent Smith, he doesn't have enough memory to, like, really do anything in the Matrix now. He's like, well, I've overextended myself, and so I can only kind of control one person at a time. And so all the other Agent Smiths are just kind of like standing there like they're just derpy now. And eventually, Agent Smith and Neo, they're in the sky, and Agent Smith he's literally doing what Goku or Vegeta have done a billion times, where he's just throwing his body into Neo, back down towards Earth, and boom, they land, make this giant fucking crater that's like it goes like 8 feet fucking deep or something, 10 feet deep or something, and Neo's like, Agent Smith, he's like, what? I am ready for you to absorb me. Really? Yeah, I'm ready to die. but do I truly die? Is dying real? Is this not a sacrifice? But is the sacrifice truly? And he just fucking hits him in the fucking gut. And then he fucking Neo becomes Agent Smith. And then I can only assume because he's just overextended his memory, chat. He needs an upgrade or something. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on anymore. He's like, did I do it? Am I here? What did I just say? I don't understand. And then the other Agent Smith that became fucking Neo is just like, oh, everything is totally cool. He's like, oh my God, it didn't work. How's that possible? Because I am not Mr. Anderson. I am the one. And he just explodes. He's like a grenade that goes off. And it's like a chain reaction. And Agent Smith is like, and he fucking pops too. And then we cut back to Zion, chat, where the machine's like, the baby's like, you did a good thing. I am canceling our attack upon Zion. And so we cut back to Zion, and the squids are like, hey, the boss just said we're done. Computer baby, hey guys, Computer baby said we're not going to attack the humans anymore. Neo apparently made a deal, and we will no longer attack Zion. And if anyone wakes up in the Matrix, we will allow them to go to Zion. So, cool. And so they leave, and, Morpheus is like, yay, but sad because, well, if he thinks probably Neo is dead and Trinity's dead, he's like, I'm sad. But he's got Jada Pinkett Smith. He's got that. It's not a bad consolation prize, Morpheus. Everyone's like, yeah. And then we cut back to the computer baby and Neo, who is dead. When he exploded, because he says, Chad, if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life. And they take his body. He's in the T-pose, Chad. They literally have him in the fucking T-pose. And they put him on this giant crab car. I don't know. It's like this giant floating crab hovercraft. And the baby is like, your sacrifice would be honored forever. And we then cut into the Matrix. The computer baby updated the Matrix, chat. And so everyone's kind of coming back. We see the computer programs from earlier with the little girl and the couple, and they're happy and shit. And then we see the Oracle, and she's like, I'm not white anymore. Woohoo! And I don't have a penis anymore. Woohoo! And she's hanging out in a park. And then Colonel Sanders shows up. He's like, hey, Oracle, I know we haven't really talked because, I don't like you. She's like, well, I don't like you either, Colonel Sanders. I don't like your chicken. I don't like the fact that you're a fucking racist. He's like, hey, fair enough. Did you know all this shit was going to happen? And she's like, nope. No, I did not. He's like, well, but how did you know it would all work out this way? She's like, well, I just believed. And that is my scene by scene breakdown, chat, to the Matrix, Revolutions, Revelations, whatever. Whatever the fuck this movie is. You know what it is. The Matrix 3, chat. The Matrix 3. Oh, my God. You're totally misrepresenting what happens now. I am not. I made it better. Never understood why Agent Smith exploded. It's like, I don't fucking know. He just makes him explode. I think he just overextended himself. He's like, he couldn't control himself anymore. Resolutions. Can we spell resolutions? Ian Bliss is the actor who played Bane Smith. The Wachowskis picked him because he gave the best impression. Oh, there we go. If you go even acting as Agent Smith in the audition, well, there you go. Makes sense. He does a good job. The fact that the true ending of Matrix 3 is shown in the video game. Now, isn't Agent Smith become like a giant garbage monster? Isn't that what it was? Daryl McCoy, hello again, Herman, just again, Juicy Gang. Good to see you, Daryl McCoy. Hope you're doing very well. Just finished my review for the Matrix Revelations, Resolutions, whatever the fuck it's called. However, you know what? I'm going to say it. Based on what Chris described, I'm going to say Van Helsing is better. It is. Van Helsing is a much better movie. I got to give my rating. Yeah, Chad, it suffers from all the same things the previous movie suffered from. But it does one thing worse, which is the action scenes. I think the action scenes in this movie are super uninspired. They feel like, well, we go bigger, that'll be better, and it's just not. So much of it is just CGI, They're not grounded, and they're not. And it's not have anything wrong with CGI. It's just like they don't do anything clever with the CGI. It's just a whole bunch of big gray mechs fighting against a whole bunch of big gray clouds of squiddies. And like when you get inside the Matrix, they're either doing stuff we've already seen before, like in the first one, like where they attack the building. Same thing here when they attack the Merovingians, the Rule 34 Club. Or, you know, you get like a kind of just this boring scene of Neo and Agent Smith just ramming into each other in the rain, Chad. And that sounds hot, but it's in a non-sexual kind of ramming. If it was sexual ramming, that might have been a little more interesting, Chad. But no, they're just flying up in the sky and they keep hitting each other and they keep falling and that's it. It's uninspired. And then we still get the fucking monotonous plot. We have the over-explaining everything. We get the exposition. We have the questions and answers and no questions. I'm like, I don't care about any of this. I don't care. I don't care about these characters. You made me not care. That's what happened. That's what the Wachowskis get. And it's a disappointing mess, chat. So yeah, I don't know. I would give this the same rating as I gave Reloaded, even though I think I might like it less than that. But it's not it's not a fuck you. It's not a fuck you. It's just, you know, because, you know, there's money in it. There's definitely money. The money's on full display. But yeah, it's just what a disappointing way to end your trilogy. It's your series, although it's not the last one now, chap. I would give this a low some old bullshit on the DT scale, chap, on the double toasted scale. Such a disappointment. Such a disappointment for The Matrix, Revolutions 3. I hope you enjoyed the review. And I cut out like a lot of exposition because you don't want to hear me talk about these people talking to each other. You don't need to hear those conversations, shit. I told you enough. Oh my, the restitutions. I should get some restitutions. Frankie, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Trust he's lived long enough to become the villain, or just putting in rave dance sex orgies. I would have liked the rave dance. Well, we kind of get that in the club, in Rule 34 Club. Luke Boss, you being too hard, my guy. Give it a rental. Fair enough. Animatrix is, I like the Animatrix. Other than the first movie, the Animatrix is definitely the next best thing in this franchise. I feel like, well, we're going to be doing a watch party for Matrix Resurrection. I don't remember the names of any of these now. The Matrix Resurrections this Friday on Christmas Eve. So join me for that. That'll be fun. It's on HBO Max. I definitely will do the Animatrix someday. I think that'll be fun. Your reward for watching all 3 movies, you go, yay! Yay, Oracle cookies. I wonder how good those cookies are. You think those cookies taste good, Chad? I hope so. Then the game said, fine, you didn't like our DBZ fight? Fuck it. It's kaiju. Yeah, he's a kaiju. He's a giant trash man. It's like, all right. Oh, Lord. The Lost Erection. I think I'll have to do an Animatrix review someday, chat. Someday. I think those cookies. No, edibles. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Tastes like Graham herself. Oh, God. I put a little bit of myself into these cookies. Oh, what would you put in there? Oh, my corporeal being. But are the cookies real, chat? Are the cookies real, though? Do we just think the cookies are real, but in reality, they're not real? You don't know. She sacrificed herself for those cookies. Did Agent Smith really talk about cookies? His line from the movie when she's asking about, did you kill all my fucking kids? His response, because you know the Oracle has all those. I guess those are computer program kids now. All those other computer program kids. She's like, what do you do with my kids? And he says, cookies need love like everything does. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay. Mr. Anderson. The movie referred to itself in the third person way too much towards the first half of the movie. It's obnoxious. It's obnoxious. It is very obnoxious, chat. Did Neo accept or reject the cookies? Find out. He did not reject the cookie in the first Matrix. And I believe, did he take the candy? Did he take the candy and Reloaded? Clearly the thing you need to keep doing is keep eating them fucking cookies and in them candies. That's what you gotta do, chat. Woo! You talking shit about Taj? No. I ain't talking shit. Well, so the video game chat, which honestly would have been probably better. I forgot about this. I'm glad you brought it up. In the Matrix, I guess was it Neo or whatever? I forget what it's like. Neo Entered the Matrix or one of those games. Path of Neo. That's what it was. Path of Neo, the Matrix video game. I think the final boss in that game is Agent Smith, but it's not like a Dragon Ball Z fight. He literally becomes a giant kaiju made of trash. And where you battle him that way. I recall. I never played it, but I know of it. So he just made the explode because he was unstable. I think so. I got the impression where he couldn't absorb Neo, and he was already overextending himself because he had taken over all of the Matrix. And so that's why he's acting really derpy at these. Like, he doesn't know what he's saying anymore. He's confused. He's like, did I just say that? What did I just say? Did I do it? Like, it's too much for him. He just goes, I think that's it. And, and Neo knows this, and he exploits that weakness. And so when he was absorbed, he wasn't really absorbed. So, yeah. That's what happened, Jeff. That's what happened. I see the Giant Smith. I thought it was from the movie. Video game. Yeah. Yeah, chat. Trash monster. Trash monster, it's not great. It's not great. They were just a slave to his purpose, so once he's beat, he has no purpose. Oh, yeah, maybe that's what it is. He's like, I don't know what to do anymore. And so, yeah, it could be that. Again, who knows? We don't know, chat. We don't know. But is not knowing part of the journey? And is that journey, is that even real? Is that even real? We don't know. Is any of this real? I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out. Maybe we'll find out in The Matrix 4. What does it mean, chat? What does it mean? But now my data overload. But now, my friends, we're going to go ahead. And knowing is half the battle, G.I. Joe. Hell yeah, it is. Are you CGI? Am I CGI? That's what Hugo Weaving was saying at the end of the movie. Are you CGI? Yeah. It was an aggravated computer cookies, Chris. You just don't understand. In terms of, I don't. Believe me, I'm ignorant. I'm stupid. Computer cookies. Oh, my God. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Dragon. It's the Dragon Ball Z. Cool. Pork chop sandwiches. That's a good one. That's a good video. I like that. Oh, chat. But now, my friends, we are transitioning over from the Matrix Revelations 3 spoiler review. Hope you enjoyed it, chat. My scene by scene breakdown. Check out Reloaded yesterday, chat. That was a really fun review. But now, my friends, we're moving on to Hawkeye. I'm a computer. Oh, we're going to do some Hawkeye, which should be fun.